It happened quietly, too quietly for someone like Prince Harry. No royal statement, no social media goodbye, not even a whisper from the usual paparazzi circuits. Just like that, in the dead of night, he vanished. A single duffel bag, a private jet, and that haunted look only a man running from his own chaos wears. Destination, London. But here's the twist. No Meghan, no kids, no entourage. Just Harry, stripped down to his ghosts and regrets. Buckingham Palace kept their lips sealed. Not a peep. But behind palace doors, the rumors were already spreading like wildfire. He's back. He's hiding out in the countryside. He's calling people again. And the question echoing through royal halls? Why now? Because this time, Harry wasn't escaping the royals. He was crawling back to them. The same prince who had spent years dragging his family in interviews, Netflix deals, and that tell-all memoir suddenly seemed done with the California dream. The freedom, the sunshine, the celebrity circuit, all of it. Something had snapped. And the trigger? The words. Tyler Perry. Yes, that Tyler Perry, the billionaire who once opened his home, his jet, and his heart to the Sussexes when the world turned on them. Meghan called him her protector, her rock, her safe place. But now, that same man just dropped a truth bomb so big it rattled everything Harry and Meghan built. It was 6 a.m. on March 14th when the whispers began. Tyler Perry had receipts, and once they surfaced, Harry began to unravel. But before we unpack what Perry revealed, let's get one thing straight. This isn't some clout chase. Tyler Perry doesn't need headlines. He's calculated, private, and painfully aware that in Hollywood, loyalty has an expiration date and memories fade fast. Imagine waking up to find your entire royal reinvention flipped upside down. Every secret, every whisper, every carefully crafted illusion suddenly exposed. Tyler Perry's been in this game long enough to know one thing. Protection isn't paranoia. It's survival. You don't build an empire out of nothing by being reckless. You do it by being watchful, strategic, and ready for betrayal. Because in Hollywood, today's friend can be tomorrow's headline. So when Harry and Meghan came knocking back in 2020, broken, banished, and desperate for a safe place to land, Perry didn't just open his Beverly Hills mansion out of blind kindness. Yes, he gave them sanctuary. He offered them privacy when the world was dissecting their every move. He let them use his home, his jet, his resources, while the rest of Hollywood avoided the so-called royal rebels. Remember, these two weren't just leaving a job, they were fleeing a legacy. They'd cut ties with the monarchy, lost their royal funding, and had nowhere to go. And Perry? He became their shelter in the storm, their escape route, their lifeline. He even became Lilibet's godfather, not exactly a casual gesture. He was in their documentary, painted as the guardian angel who saved them. Meghan even cried calling him her rock. He gave them protection, power, and peace. But what Meghan and Harry didn't realize, Perry wasn't naive. While the world saw a savior, Perry was playing it smart. He's seen too many fame-fueled implosions to trust anyone blindly. So, while they lived under his roof, he quietly documented everything. Not as revenge, as insurance. He kept receipts, notes, maybe even recordings. He observed their planning sessions, how they practiced interviews, shaped narratives, and rebuilt their image from scratch. It wasn't some spy operation. It was self-defense. Perry knew that one day, if things turned ugly, he'd need proof. Because in Hollywood, and especially around the royals, truth is just another weapon. When Meghan's team started quietly erasing Tyler Perry from their story, they had no idea what kind of storm they were about to unleash. The moment they scrubbed his name, they triggered a clause that changed everything. See, Perry had seen it all. The tears, the late-night rants, the strategy sessions where pain turned into PR. He watched them rebuild their empire piece by piece, and he kept the evidence. Because in his world, loyalty without proof is just an invitation to get burned. So when Meghan began tweaking the narrative, pretending Perry's part in their story never existed, she handed him exactly what he needed to protect himself. At first, it was subtle. One moment he was Uncle Tyler, godfather to Lilibet Diana, praised in interviews as their guardian angel. Then, suddenly gone. No mentions, no photos, no thanks. Even Lilibet's Wikipedia page quietly dropped his name. This wasn't random. It was calculated, intentional, a total rewrite. Perry didn't just show up for Meghan and Harry. He saved them. When they fled royal life and had nowhere to go, he gave them everything: his home, his jet, his security, his network. But as the Sussex rebrand took shape, Perry became inconvenient, too connected to the chaos, too real. So, piece by piece, they deleted him from interviews, from public memory, from their so-called new beginning. To the outside world, it looked harmless, just another celebrity friendship that faded. But for Perry, it cut deep. He wasn't some Hollywood acquaintance. He was their lifeline. He put his own reputation on the line when no one else would touch them. He sheltered them when the world turned its back, and in return, they acted like he was never there. They turned his kindness into a liability, his generosity into a ghost. But Perry? He's not the type to scream online or post cryptic quotes. He plays the long game. He waited, patient and precise. And when he finally decided to move, he didn't throw punches. He dropped proof. Quiet, devastating proof. The kind that doesn't just end a friendship. It rewrites the entire royal fairy tale. Then came the moment that flipped the entire royal narrative on its head. The first tape, just 58 seconds long, but it sent shockwaves through every corner of the internet. The clip, secretly recorded inside Tyler Perry's mansion during the Sussex's stay, captured a version of Harry no one had ever seen before. He wasn't bitter. He wasn't broken. He was laughing, calm, casual, talking about palace life like it was just another story from the past. A far cry from the teary-eyed man who'd sat across from Oprah claiming to be crushed by royal life. But the real twist came seconds later. Meghan's voice, faint but clear in the background, coaching him, guiding his tone, his phrasing, even his emotions. You could literally hear her feeding him cues, what to emphasize, when to pause, how to sound vulnerable. It was direction, performance, every moment of that raw and honest Oprah interview rehearsed. Every tear, every pause, every headline-making quote, scripted like a scene in a movie. When that clip leaked, the internet imploded. Millions who once defended the couple with blind faith suddenly felt betrayed. The same people who saw them as victims started questioning everything. If the Oprah moment was staged, what about the Netflix series, the memoir, the podcast deals? Suddenly, it all looked like one massive PR production. And that's when Harry did something no one could have predicted. In the dead of night, he packed a single bag, boarded a private jet, and vanished. No Meghan, no entourage, no security detail, just Harry, running back to the one place he swore he'd never go, London. The palace, of course, said nothing. But insiders whispered, he's back, hidden away at a quiet countryside estate, alone, thinking, and the question hung heavy in the air. Was this the end of the Sussex fairy tale? But the story didn't stop there. Because Harry's late-night escape wasn't just a retreat from scandal. It was an escape from her, from the machinery, the brand, the perfectly curated illusion. Those tapes didn't just expose the truth to the world. They forced Harry to see it himself. And for the first time, the prince who left the crown was now running from his own castle of lies. The fairy tale was crumbling, live, in real time, and the world couldn't look away. Social media went into full meltdown mode. The same die-hard fans who once defended Meghan and Harry like loyal soldiers suddenly turned on them, hard. Comment sections flipped overnight, filled with one question no one had dared to ask before: if the Oprah interview, the Netflix special, and all those emotional speeches were rehearsed, then what was ever real? And just when people thought the drama had peaked, Tyler Perry dropped his next move. He wasn't done, not even close, because what came next wasn't a clip or a rumor. It was the bombshell, a document, 3 chilling words written at the top: strategic repositioning plan. Those 3 words sent Meghan's entire PR empire into panic mode. The file Perry had quietly kept for years laid everything bare: the timelines, the branding strategy, the talking points, the media rollout. Every tearful interview, every authentic moment, every public appearance had been planned like a corporate campaign. This wasn't the ex-royals finding themselves. This was a full-blown business blueprint, calculated down to the minute. And there, at the bottom of the final page, were their signatures. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, proof that every truth they'd sold to the world was crafted in advance. Every confession, every revelation, every emotional pause, pre-scheduled and pre-approved. But Perry didn't blast it on social media. He didn't sell it to the tabloids. He simply leaked it to the right journalists, the ones who could decode it for what it truly was. Within hours, headlines were calling it the death of authenticity. PR analysts said it plain: you can't market honesty when you've been caught scripting it. And just like that, The empire Meghan built on transparency began to collapse. Her Instagram, once flooded with adoration, turned into a wall of fury. Her upcoming lifestyle brand, dead before launch. Hollywood, once fascinated, started backing away quietly. Brands ghosted. Editors passed on stories. The narrative she spent years perfecting was unraveling, thread by thread, and this time, no amount of spin could save it. Editors started pulling back, politely, carefully. But the message was clear. No one wanted to be anywhere near the fallout. Because when your entire empire is built on being authentic, and the receipts prove it was all a performance, that's not just bad PR, that's game over. Meanwhile, Harry was coming undone. Sources close to him said he'd gone completely silent. No press statements, no interviews, just long, lonely walks through the English countryside and quiet phone calls behind closed doors. He wasn't angry anymore. He was hollow, haunted by the words he'd said about his own blood, haunted by the possibility that he hadn't escaped manipulation at all. That maybe he just traded one puppet master for another. And Meghan, she was spiraling, full-on panic mode, because Harry's silence wasn't just unsettling, it was dangerous. Their entire public image, their entire truth-telling brand, relied on them being a united front. The second Harry started questioning things, everything they'd built began to shake. Every quote, every claim, every accusation could now be reinterpreted. And if Harry ever retracted even a single word, the whole story would collapse. But Tyler Perry, he was calm, ice cold. He didn't rant. He didn't post. He didn't sell exclusives. He didn't need to. The truth had already done the work. Perry had released just enough to prove his point, and that was all it took. Hollywood got the message loud and clear. Never cross the man who keeps receipts. In silence, he became something of a legend. The mogul who was wrong stayed quiet and let the truth speak louder than any headline ever could. As for Meghan, her empire was imploding in real time. The lifestyle brand, quietly shelved. The podcasts, canceled or on pause. The magazine covers, gone. Even her charity deals started dissolving overnight. The brand of authenticity that once made her unstoppable had turned into her downfall. And while her world was crumbling, Perry's was thriving. His reputation soared. He wasn't just the man who once sheltered Meghan and Harry. He was the man who documented the truth, meticulously and silently. Now, the world's watching Harry because this isn't just scandal anymore. It's consequence. He's standing at a crossroads. Stay with Meghan and keep pretending everything's fine, or walk away and try to rebuild the bridges he burned with his family. Both paths cost him everything, but only one might save what's left of his soul. The alternative means pretending, living a lie, and according to insiders, that's exactly what's tearing Harry apart. He's been holding quiet, late-night conversations with people connected to the palace, maybe even his father himself. But some wounds can't be healed with an apology. He didn't just hurt feelings, he wrecked reputations. He put accusations on record, wrote them in books, filmed them in documentaries. And now, with Tyler Perry's evidence out in the open, the tables have turned completely. The royal family finally has what Harry and Meghan never did: credibility. And that's the cruel twist in all of this. The couple who built their empire on truth were brought down by the one man who simply told it. Meghan's carefully crafted image, the strength, the confidence, the control, it's all slipping away. What's left is silence, empty Instagram pages, canceled deals. Hollywood's already moved on. The public stopped caring. Meanwhile, Tyler Perry stands untouched. The last man standing in a storm he never created. Not because he shouted the loudest, but because he didn't need to. He had the one thing no one else did: proof. The recordings, the notes, the receipts. In a world addicted to spin, the man with the facts doesn't have to argue. He just waits. And in the end, it was in the tabloids or the palace, or even public opinion that destroyed Meghan and Harry's empire. It was the truth, cold, documented, undeniable. One man, one vault. Years of experience teaching him that loyalty means nothing without evidence. Tyler Perry didn't take them down. They did that to themselves, the moment they turned their backs on the man who once saved them. And now, somewhere in that quiet English estate, Harry sits alone, probably asking himself the question that won't stop echoing: did I ever really break free? Or did I just swap one kind of control for another? And that, right there, is the real royal plot twist no one saw coming.